Sometimes people ask me, did I always want to be a scientist? When I grew up, the physicists were kings. Albert Einstein, J. Robert Oppenheimer. Another question is, are we scientists doing a good job? Cells have a very complex internal organization, which we've been studying for many years, really almost 20 years. And what is remarkable is that every nucleated cell, which means most cells on the planet, plant cells, yeast cells even, we have some yeast cells here on the picture on the screen, and animal cells, and of course human cells, all of our cells have a remarkably complex internal organization. And as a cell grows and divides for normal tissue or even in cancerous tissue, these compartments or internal organization within a cell all need to be duplicated. And so there's a very complex delivery process which we've been seeking to understand how this process occurs. And the delivery process really involves little sacs that we call vesicles. They're technically called transport vesicles, but they're essentially little saccules, very tiny. You can only see them almost in an electron microscope, never mind the kind of microscope we have here, a light microscope. And they store and are involved in carrying within the cell new materials to go to specific locations. And these sacs or vesicles fuse with the target of their delivery process, one or another cellular membrane. And so what we've been studying, as of many others interested in this area of cell biology, how this delivery process works, how each vesicle knows to merge with its appropriate target. All basic research, including my own, if it's basic enough, contributes in a very broad way. It contributes the underpinnings of future medical advances. And in some cases, and I would say in our own case, the delivery process can predictably be expected to have impact, though it will be 10 years or more until the impact is seen. You know, sometimes people ask me, did I always want to be a scientist? And, I'm embarrassed to say yes. From the earliest I can remember, 5 or 6 years old, I wanted to be a physicist. Well, I'm not a physicist, but I came close. Yes, I did always want to be a scientist. And in many ways, I think I oftentimes think, like, why was that? Well, I'm a child of the 1950s. I was born in 1950, and people of my generation grew up in an era when scientists were heroes. And I think that one of the most important, when we think about, how to encourage more young people to go into science, really, at some level, it's society's job to do that, and really, the stature of scientists in society is very important in that. When I grew up during that era, the physicists were kings. Albert Einstein, J. Robert Oppenheimer. The products of those technologies, in many ways, the space program, the astronauts, from the American view, Shepard, Glenn. As an American, even thinking back to Thomas Edison, there were so many scientific heroes that it was impossible not to be thinking, if you had that inclination, about science. So another question that one has to think about in this regard is, are we scientists doing a good job of communicating with the public? And I think the answer at some level is no. The skills that are required to be a successful scientist are not necessarily the same skills that really lend themselves to the publicity of science, to the explanation of science to a general public, sadly. I do think that we're trying to do our best now with an appreciation that we need to do more. I think, frankly, prizes like the Heineken Awards are really a wonderful format and make a wonderful statement to the public that science is an important activity, that medical research is important, and equally the humanistic activities are important. And I think to the extent that one focuses on science, how well society appreciates let's say, biomedical research, one should also be focused, perhaps even more, on the status of humanistic studies. And in that regard, I think that, again, the Heineken Prizes, Heineken Awards, really make a wonderful statement in elevating all of these areas of studies to the plateau, the very high level of recognition that they all deserve.